Indian polity part of today's test. So, to start with, we will take up the question number 51. The question is, the Panchayati Raj institution in India strengthens what? Procedural democracy, representative democracy, participative democracy and consensus democracy. There is spelling mistake, consensus democracy. So herein the answer shall be the participative democracy. Now how does it happen to be participative democracy? Therein we find that people at the grassroots level find the opportunity to participate in the process of development, and therein the people find opportunity to elect. They elect the persons from the people in the villages, and therein things happen to be participative in nature. Things happen to be participative in nature. So that is participative democracy. The right answer is C, 52. Therein it conveys, with respect to the territory of India, the parliament has the power. Territory of India, the parliament has the power. So it has the power to form new states. There is Article 2 and there is Article 3, based upon which in different conditions we find that the parliament reserves the right to form new state. When it is a matter of Article 2, it conveys that there will be formation of new state. There will be formation of new state. But when it is Article 3, it is reorganization of state. Reorganization of state. So therein parliament reserves the right for it. When it is a matter of increase or diminish the area of state, basically it is reorganization of state. When it is a matter of alter the boundaries of state, it is again like reorganization of state. So 1, 2, 3 are correct. Now when it is a matter of the option 4, acquires new territories. Now therein anything could happen on the basis of international agreement. International agreement. But that happens to be operational only when it is approved by parliament. So when it is approved by parliament, that means again that parliament reserves the right to acquire or perform functions regarding the territory of India. Although it happens through the international agreement, but that is adopted in the Union of India only when it is approved by the parliament, and we have got the example of Sikkim. We have got the example of Goa. So that way we find the answer should be the fourth one, that 1, 2, 3 and 4, all of them happen to be correct, and parliament has the right to do things in this way. Freedom to manage religious affairs confers upon the religious denominations, that is, right to establish institutions. Now, which of the following rights have been granted under them? So, when it is a matter of establishing religious institutions, it is basically Article 26. And when we go through this, So therein we find to establish and administer educational institutions of their own choice. That is there in 26. But to establish and maintain institutions for religious and charitable purpose. Sorry, I beg your pardon. So this article number, point number 1 is not there. Here is it. So this point number 1, to establish and administer educational institution, that is article 30. That right has been extended to the minorities specifically. So that is wrong. But when it comes a matter to establish and maintain institutions for religious and charitable purposes, that is article 26 again. So therein only point number 2 is right. Henceforth the answer happens to be 2. So herein this model code of conduct is related to elections. One could confuse regarding model code of conduct from Uniform Civil Code, UCC, but that is not. So this model code of conduct is related to elections. So this is the point number 1 is right, that there was a code of conduct introduced in 1960 in Kerala. Now the code of conduct regarding election do regulate the conduct of all political parties who are contesting election. So 2 is also right. Even it applies to the content posted by the political parties on the social medias these days. So that 2 is right. Henceforth the answer B is right. So that is, consider the following statements. The question number 55 is, consider the following statements, and that is related to Supreme Court. So the writ jurisdiction of Supreme Court limited to enforcement of fundamental rights only. Now this word only is important because there is article 32 and 2. Based upon that, the right has been conferred to Supreme Court, and that is related to the fundamental rights only. But when it comes a matter of High Court, this is more than the fundamental rights, and civil cases are also dealt with, and in course of that the High Court has got the capability to issue writs, and that is based on 226 article. So therein the answer that is key, both of them happen to be right. The another one, that is question number 56. Consider the following statement. So OCI, Overseas Citizens of India scheme has introduced the concept of dual citizenship. As a matter of fact, there is no dual citizenship, neither it is possible in any country. So the basic condition is that the dual citizenship is given only related to states, like that is in US. So America has got its citizenship, and states of America are having the citizenship. So no condition of dual citizenship can ever happen, and therein we find that this one happens to be wrong. And then OCI is entitled for visa lifelong to free travel to India, and thereby only 2 statement is correct. So then 57 is there. So question number 57, that is related to participatory democracy. That includes greater participation of the people in the governance. Now, therein there is requirement to understand what is governance. Hopefully, all of you have prepared yourself to understand. I'll just give you the reference. In the governance, everything happens within the hands of the people, and everything is performed in accordance with the requirement of the people. And therein, participatory democracy refers to the participation of people specifically. So based upon that, when it says the ultimate authority of the governance should rest with the people themselves. So herein, ultimate authority does not mean direct authority in the hands of the people. Ultimate authority refers to a condition wherein people are there in the state to identify and decide who will be their government. So in course of that, with the help of the elections through the representative democracy, people are there participating in the process of democracy. Now, so point number 1 is right. Point number 2, when it is, say, civil disobedience, public hearing, recall, referendum, etc., are instruments of direct democracy. Now, what is direct democracy? So in the direct democracy, people are directly participating in the process of function, in the process of government, and therein we find that people are there. So civil disobedience is not the part of direct democracy. Public hearing is not the part of direct democracy. Rather, the recall and referendum happen to be the part of direct democracy. Now, in course of the tools of direct democracy, we find apart from say the referendum and recall, there is initiative. Now, there are different types of initiative wherein we find there is direct initiative, there is indirect initiative. When there is direct initiative, people are there putting things by themselves to take up. But in indirect democracy initiative, after sufficient signatures, the initiatives or measures are voted by the parliament. So that way, tools are there. So due to civil disobedience and public hearing, they are not the part of direct democracy. But the third one, that is government is mere agent of the people, is right. So 1 and 3 happen to be right. The next question, that is, this is part 4 of the Constitution, which happens to be directive given to the state for the reason to ensure availability of the conditions of development to the people of India. So therein we find the points are to secure for all citizens uniform civil code, that is Article 44. To organize agriculture and animal husbandry on modern science lines, and that is Article 48. There is to separate the judiciary from executive in public services, that is Article 50. To promote international peace and security, that is Article 51. To promote the educational and economic interests of scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, that is Article 46. So all these are there because the reference of part 4 is there between Article 36 to 51. And that way we find that all of them happen to be the part of TPSP. So option 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, all of them happen to be right. So that is, there is article 59, sorry, question number 59, and that says that the constitution provides directives. The constitution provides directives for the protection of the rights of workers. Which among the following are the provisions? So herein we find that all of them happen to be right. Like just and human working conditions, living wage, job security, decent standard of life, full enjoyment of leisure, social and cultural opportunities. So that way the option number D, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 are right. Thereafter there is question number 60. It says, it asks which of the following rights are granted only to the citizens and not to the aliens. And so therein we need to know which are those rights, those are available to the citizens. So rights are available in Indian Constitution in two ways. One is there as fundamental rights, and the fundamental rights, those are available to citizens only. That means that those are not available to aliens. Those are article 15, 16, 17, 19, 29 and 30. Those are the fundamental rights, those are available only to the citizens. Apart from those, we find, because the rights are there in the form of fundamental rights and the other one is there as constitutional rights. So those constitutional rights, those are available only to citizens. Those are article 326, that is right to vote. Apart from that, some of the posts, those are available to citizens only, and that is, say, the post of MP. Only citizens can fight election. MLA, MLC, only citizens can contest election. Apart from that, post of president, vice president, governor, judges Supreme Court, High Court, all these are there available to citizens only. So I am just giving you some other extensions, because herein it is what are the rights, sorry, the article 61, sorry, question number 60, what are the rights, those are granted rights, those are granted to the citizens, and that is, so herein, so for the reason of article 19, there is right to freedom of speech and expression, which is 19(1)(a). That is question number 60. Thereafter the question of history starts, and the next question, that is with polity, is at question number 76. That is, Constitution provides for certain safeguards against conviction of offence. Again it is related to fundamental rights, conviction of offence. Question number 76. So therein protection against self-incrimination, that is 20/3. So this conviction for offence protection is there in article 20. So protection against self-incrimination, that is 20. Now what is this protection against self-incrimination? That self-incrimination, that nobody can be compelled to be evidence against one's own crime. Nobody can be compelled to be evidence against one's own crime, but if anybody is there doing it, accepting the crime by one's own, then it will be exception to Article 20/3. So that is self-incrimination. Point number 2, protection against double jeopardy, that is 20/2. And this double jeopardy is there wherein nobody can be punished twice for the same crime. No punishment or trial, no punishment or trial twice for the same crime. That is double jeopardy. A person should not be arrested without being informed of the grounds of offense, and that is 22(1)(2)(3). That is known as punitive detention. So for the reason of the state activity, the right has been given to police, the state, that one could be arrested. Therein, at the time of arrest, it is the right of every citizen to know about the reasons of arrest. So that does not come under. So that is 22(1) and 3. And now the fourth one, the criminal laws should not be applied retrospectively for punishment of guilty. So the laws are made by Parliament, and laws made Parliament reserves the right to apply those, and could be applied in two manners. One is prospectively, and the other one is retrospectively. When it is a matter of prospective impact, that means that after making the law is being implemented. But when it is retrospectively implemented, that means that law has been made today but could be applied before the date of from previous date also. That is retrospective. In the perspective of criminal law and punishment, this retrospective implementation of law is not permitted. So the criminal law should not be applied retrospectively for punishment of guilty. So therein we find that a person should not be arrested without being informed on the grounds of offense. So that is conviction against offense. So therein we find the answer is 1, 2, 3, 4. The answer should be C. All the answers are right. Then the 77, question number 77. That is, fundamental rights enshrined in the Constitution is enforceable against state. For this purpose, which of the following is not state? So the definition of state has been given in Article 12. And in Article 12, and in course of that, under in a case, Supreme Court has identified the BCCI not within the state. So answer will be C. And thereafter, the last question, that is question number 80. Consider the following statements about National Legal Service Authority. It is popularly known as NALSA. It says its mandate is to provide free legal aid to weaker sections of the society. So basically it is related to Article 39. So its mandate is to provide free legal aid to the weaker sections of the society. That is right. It has 2 tiers below it to carry out the mandate of legal authority of 87th Act. There are 2 tiers. So it is at center level. Below center there is state, and below state there is district. So the running CJI happens to be the head patron in chief. Running Chief Justice of High Court happens to be, and then the district judge. So that way the 2 layers are there, 2 tiers below it. It ka matlab NLSA is there. And the third one, it was constituted in pursuance of right to equality as well as DPSP. So that is 39A. This 39A has been included later on by 42nd Amendment Act, and the objective is to make sure free legal aid to ensure equal justice. So for these reasons we find that the third one is also right. So the answer happens to be D. Now NLSA is one of the important authority which has been given number of responsibilities. So at the last I will just discuss the functions of NLSA. And first of all, it is to provide free and competent legal service. Free and competent legal service to the eligible persons. The second one, that is to organize Lok Adalats. Now that is one of the important part of justice in India. Lok Adalat for amicable settlement of disputes. And the third one, that is to organize legal awareness camps. legal awareness camps in the rural areas. Now, by discussing this one, what I wanted to extend is this: whenever you are taking a test, you need not only to read the question, you need to go through the other areas, vicinity of the question, so that you could be able to find out the answer. And that is the process of preparation for the civil service examination. All the best for the forthcoming examination. See you in the next test and discussion. Thank you.